Hey everyone, welcome to Steph and Key TV. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know what you thought of today's video in the comments below. All right, Atlanta, let's get into it. So we pick up with the ladies after the dance class. They've all gotten freshened up and they're getting ready to go to dinner. Drew's already at the restaurant getting everything set up. And so Cynthia's like, tell me about y'all dance. How did the dance go? She's dancing and Candy's like, oh girl, I forgot you weren't there. She's like, I don't do much of anything, as she's taking her big ass up onto the little bus thing. And I'm just like, all that ass and no rhythm. Girl, it's a shame. So then Portia's like half whispering over to Marlo saying, girl, I got back to my room exhausted and I thought it was from our conversation, but I forgot all about our dance class today. And Marlo's like, yeah, girl. She's like, I went back to the room too tired, but it's definitely from the dance. So then Cynthia, being nosy like the rest of us, she's like, wait a minute, forget about the dance. Why are y'all gonna be exhausted from a conversation? So then they start talking, but we miss it because it heads over to the restaurant, and that's where we stop and meet Drew. So I don't know like what she said to Cynthia or if they said anything at all. So Drew lets the ladies know that she has a big surprise for them. So they go into the restaurant and then they start heading towards the kitchen, and everybody's like, wait, I gotta cook? I'm on vacation, I ain't trying to cook. She's like, come on, get in there. So they go into the kitchen, and then out pops Big Frida, huge recording artist from New Orleans. I have no idea who Big Frida is. I was like, who is Big Frida? Am I supposed to know who Big Frida is? My bad. But everybody else is excited, so I'm excited too. They start saying some of Big Frida's like catchphrases and stuff, and they know who Big Frida is, so that's all that matters. But they're ready to cook, have a good time, maybe do some twerking. You know how Atlanta does. So Big Frida has them making some booty popping potatoes and some margaritas. So they're having the margaritas while he's making the big booty popping potatoes. And then they toast, they start dancing. He does his "you already know," and I was like dancing too. Everyone's just having a good time, and then Portia and Latoya start taking stuff out into the dining area, and Candy, being messy, asks Marlo what was the big conversation that Marlo and Portia had. So Marlo just lets Candy know a little bit about what her and Portia talked about, like taking things slow with Kenya, and Kenya's just like, whatever, like why does she even need to be involved in our relationship? And Marlo's just like, well, she is upset about the whole Bolo thing still. Marlo's like, I asked her straight up if she slept with him. Candy was like, you asked her that? So Candy in her confessional was like, just leave this girl alone. Y'all acting like this is your girlfriend or something. Like, it doesn't matter who she slept with. And I agree, but I'm also like, Candy, you're messy too. Like, I love Candy, but she's so messy. She was just talking with Kenya, validating Kenya's confirmation of like hearing noises and stuff, like at Cynthia's rehearsal dinner. Now she's trying to be like off camera, like I'm not on camera saying anything. I'm like, Candy, okay, whatever. Candy doesn't want to be involved. Marlo's just like, I don't know what to do about it. And Kenya's like, well, I heard what I heard. Portia's lying. She slept with him. If other people don't want to speak up, then that's on them. So now Marlo is confused. And in her confessional, she feels like Portia's lying now. And she's like, if you don't trust me enough to come with this information, then I don't know if I can trust you. And it's a big old mess. So the ladies get their food. Big Frida was throwing down in the kitchen. They get their food, goes to the table. Big Frida blesses the food, and these ladies are ready to chow down. Well, all right. That went left real quick. Marlo, oh gosh. This is why she's on the show, because she's straight messiness. She decides to ask Big Frida if, like, a hypothetical question concerning the situation she's in with Portia and Kenya. Everybody knows what Marlo is talking about. So it's like, girl, what are you doing? Big Frida is trying to sit and eat his food, mind his business. And he tries to give her some advice about like just staying out of it. She doesn't by doing this big show. So then Portia jumps in and is like, what, are you talking about me? Just say it. Kenya jumps in and Marlo's like, I feel like y'all trying to put me in the middle of it. And they're both like, we're not trying to put you in the middle of it. And she's like, y'all both talk to me about it and about each other behind each other's back. And they keep denying it and saying like this, like, I don't know what you're talking about. Kenya's like, I didn't accuse anyone of anything. Marlo's like, well, you are accusing her, and she told me it didn't happen, so I don't know what to do with y'all. And they're like, just let it go. But Marlo doesn't know how to let it go. So Marlo is just feeling very stuck in the middle. She's like, Portia, like, we have a very close friendship. I don't want you to think that I'm letting Kenya take you away from, or take me away from you. Kenya, we have a new friendship that's blossoming again, and I like where we're at, and I don't want to like call Portia a liar because she told me she didn't do it. Candy's like, look, whatever happened with the whole situation and whatever's going on between Kenya and Portia has nothing to do with you, so just stay out of it. Marlo's not staying out of it, so they're still like just arguing over it. It's getting very heated, and Marlo's like, you know what, I'm gonna do how like you do and how like you do. She's talking about Portia and Kenya, and say good night. I'm getting up and leaving, and everybody's like, oh, and Portia's like, okay, good night. Shamia's jumping in, hollering on Portia's behalf. Marlo gets up and leaves. Everybody's just like, what is going on? Big Frida was trying to eat his food. Just watching, I mean, that would be me. I would be Big Frida right now, just eating my food and watching the mess. So Marlo leaves, goes the wrong way. She's like, look, I done gone the wrong way. Has to come back through the table. This is so embarrassing. I would be so embarrassed if I was heated, left, and had to come back through this. She was like, y'all continue having y'all fake ass conversation, because you know when you heated, you have to keep it going. Like, you can't just be like, hope nobody sees me as I walk through. A mess. So the table starts dispersing. I'm like, what happened to this wonderful dinner? Marlo finally finds the proper exit. Portia's like, you don't mess with me no more. Drew walks Marlo outside. Kenya gets up, says goodbye to Miss Frida, and leaves and goes with Marlo and Drew, and LaToya goes with him as well outside. Big Frida gets up and walks into the kitchen. Probably like, y'all ain't paying me enough for this. I don't even know if they're paying like him at all, so hopefully he got to enjoy his food. But anyways, Marlo and Kenya and Drew and LaToya are outside. LaToya's been very quiet this whole episode, which is very interesting. I guess she's just like tired of fighting. But Marlo's like, I don't mess with liars, and Drew's like, I just think Portia's hurt about your friendship. And Marlo's like, nope, I'm done. I don't mess with liars. And Drew tries to get them to come back to the table. Marlo's like, nope. So squash that. Meanwhile, back inside, Portia is talking to Shamia and Candy and just saying, I feel like, and Cynthia, and she's saying, I feel like, I thought Marlo was trying to work on our friendship when we had our conversation. But it just seems like she wanted to have this nugget so she can come in between me and Kenya and get some attention, which I kind of agree with, because Marlo has been getting a lot of attention, and Marlo wants to be on the show, right? Marlo's only a friend of, right? So in order to be in all of the scenes and shooting all the time, Marlo needs to be friends or friendly with everyone, and she was not friendly with Kenya and was not guaranteeing that she would get enough screen time. Now she is, so hats off to you, Marlo. I do think that her and Portia did have a real friendship, but I do feel like Marlo is being very messy, and I don't know, this is what we want from the show, right? If not, like, I mean, I know they would have had a good dinner and enjoyed it, but we like a little mess, so I guess I'm all for it, but Marlo, be careful. You don't want to piss everyone off. Oh my goodness. So now Kenya comes back to the table. Cynthia asks what happened. Like, Kenya's just like, Marlo feels like Portia and her. And Portia jumps in, keep my name out your mouth. Don't say my name. Keep my name out your mouth. Oh my gosh. They're all so childish. So Kenya keeps talking and is basically calling Portia a liar. Portia finally starts reacting the way she should have been reacting the whole time. Portia's like, yep, I slept with him. What? And it was good. It was good. What? 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 So then her and Kenya are going back and forth, and Portia's like, oh, okay. And I did. And it was a great time. What? We had a good time. What? And she was like, what? You're mad? Oh, Kenya doesn't respect me. Oh, Kenya doesn't like me. Oh, however will I survive? Like, just doing all the stuff that's like not giving it any steam and like just really defeating Kenya when it comes to the back and forth. And I feel like this is what Portia should have been doing the whole time. Her reacting and getting all pissed and going off like the first few hundred times just kept it going, fueling it, amping it up, and giving Kenya what she needed to keep it going because she knew she was getting to Portia. Now with Portia acting like this, it's not affecting her the same way, and it's not having the same effect, and Kenya just doesn't have a lot to keep it going. Candy is pretty much like, okay, so what if it did happen? So what? Like, what do we do? Kenya just saying like, well, it just affects how the rest of the relationships are in this group, which I still don't know how, but whatever. I mean, like, if Portia slept with this stripper, like, I don't know how that affects anybody, but like, they get nowhere. They're just going back and forth. Portia is acting very unaffected. So then it kind of just brings the whole thing down and they're done. And I was like, if you had just done this from the beginning, Portia, we probably would have been done talking about this like 2 or 3 episodes ago. But it seems like we're done now. Portia's acting unaffected, so Kenya has no more ammo. And we'll see how the rest of the strip goes. So Marlo comes to Candy's room. They're chatting. Candy's just like, I thought you and Portia squashed it and moved on. And Marlo's like, I thought so too, but I feel like Portia's lying because Kenya's telling me one thing, Portia's telling me another. And she's like, and you won't admit to what you know. And Candy's like, I'm staying out of it. So Marlo's like, okay, so do you feel like Portia's a liar? And Candy does this little dance around it, and she's just like, okay, so in the past, I've felt like Portia's told lies. So what does that mean? Do you feel like she's lying or not? It's the next morning. LaToya comes to Kenya's room. She's like, y'all drained me, wore me out. And Kenya's like, we drained you? And she's like, well, all right, anybody can say what they want to say, but Portia knows what she did. And LaToya's like, well, Portia's gone. And Kenya's like, what? LaToya's like, yeah, Candy told me she left. So then I'm like, so now Portia's fleeing the scene? First it was Tanya, and now it's Portia. They just gone. So then we head over to Cynthia's room. Drew comes over, and they're talking, and Drew tells Cynthia that Portia's gone. And Cynthia's like, what? She's like looking out the window. She's like, look at me, looking out the window, like, where's she at? I don't know. I thought that was so funny. But yeah, I guess Shamia told Drew that Portia left. And then we go back to Kenya's room, and Toya was like, yeah, Portia left, and she left Shamia. Kenya laughs for like a good 5 minutes. And she's like, she's so foul. How should you just leave her friend? That loyal friend, Portia girl. Stay, dog, and Shamia. So Kenya's like, how do you know that Portia left? And Toya's like, well, I ran into Candy, and Candy told me that she left. And she's like, and Candy's gone too. And Kenya's like, wait, what? And so we get like a little flashback of Candy talking to Toya. She's like, yeah, I'm getting ready to go because the storm's coming in, and I have an early call for my acting gig the next day. So she's like, I'm getting out of here. And she's like, and Portia already left. So now Kenya's upset because she's like, well, Candy could have told us she was leaving. Like, that's not cool because she's my friend. So now Portia and Candy are foul. Just leaving and not telling anybody. Because I'm like, if Toya hadn't ran into her, would they have known that Candy left? Because it seems like she didn't text or call anyone unless like production had Toya come and talk to Candy. Otherwise, I'm like, this is a mess. Just a mess. Like, if you're on a girls trip, you need to tell somebody that you're leaving, and especially tell your friends that you're leaving. That's not cool. So now we're in Cynthia's room, I believe, with Kenya and Marlo. Kenya was like, you acted crazy last night. So we get like a flashback. I guess later that night, after the craziness of the dinner, they all got into a group picture with Big Frida, and Marla was taking the picture and calling them all fake ass bitches and telling them to get closer, you little fake. And everybody was like, what in the world? So we come back and like Marlo's like, that was a Patron. So Kenya's like, so you blamed it on the alcohol. And they were just like, at this point, let's just drop it. So Kenya's ready to drop it. Cynthia, has been ready to drop it. And Marlo, they're like, done. So then Cynthia's like, where's our food? She calls Drew. Drew's like, oh, the food's in my room. You can come get it. So then Cynthia and Kenya are going to Drew's room so they can get some food, because this trip is like falling apart. So right when Kenya and Cynthia are about to get on the elevator, the power goes out. So I guess the hurricane is in full effect. I was just thinking, like, thank God they didn't get on the elevator and the power go out. I would have freaked out. Like, I would have freaked out. So I'm glad they didn't get on the elevator, but like the power's out. And so they come back to the room and Marla has to let them in because the the key thing not working. But I'm like, but they come back in with food. So I'm like, how do they get their food? Because we never see them go to Drew's room. So that was weird. I don't know how they got their food, but they got their food. And Drew's in her room with Shamia she brought candles somehow. So she's lighting candles so they can see. The camera guy in Cynthia's room hit some kind of light. So they have more light in the room. Like one of the bulbs for the lighting, I guess. So that comes in handy. But Kenya's like shading the trip now because of the hurricane and stuff. And I feel like both trips had good times and bad times. Like the beginning of Kenya's trip was whack because they were bored and starved. And then at the end of it, they had the stripper and they had a good old time. I feel like with Drew's trip, it started out good because they had good food. They arrived in a private jet. Everything was like fun. And then it kind of fell apart. So I think both trips had good and bad. So the ladies had to pack their stuff in the dark with candles, by candlelight, and by camera light. But that trip is done. They're back in Atlanta. Drew's hanging with that husband of hers in the hot tub. It's not hot enough. But she's happy to be back home. Candy's on set with her fake pregnant belly for the movie that she's in and talking to the actor Clifton Powell, I believe. Like, if you see his face, you know who he is. He's been in every black film you can think of, and other films as well. And now we're with Kenya. She's watching the results of the election, excited that Biden won Detroit. And we're with Cynthia, and they've announced that Biden is the winner for the presidency. So, and now Portia is coming over. This is the first time we've seen Portia since the trip. So she didn't completely flee like Tanya. Portia and Cynthia are celebrating the fact that Georgia has turned blue. It's a blue state now. We're celebrating Biden's presidency. And now they're going to promote and support small black businesses. So Cynthia's hosting something and they want to do Instagram stories or Instagram post for promotion. So they set it up and do like a little Instagram post thing to help support small black businesses. And I think that's pretty cool. It's always important to support small black businesses and just black businesses in general because yes. So then Cynthia brings up the fact that Portia just like fled town and Portia's like, I had to go. I didn't want to be around this mess anymore. They were embarrassed of how everyone was acting in front of Big Frida. Big Frida gave them some advice, kind of scolded them a little bit, but was very kind. But I'm sure they were embarrassed to behave in front of someone like that. Like, can't take y'all nowhere. So Portia's just like, I'm done with Marlo. Cynthia's like, you don't see yourself ever giving her another chance. She's like, nope, I'm done. Like, I see her for who she is, and I'm done with it. So squash that. Candy calls the ladies and just reminds them about her tasting for the night for her new restaurant, Blaze. They named after Baby Blaze, my favorite. And she's just having a tasting for just the ladies because of COVID. Whisper it. Because of the, situation. and she doesn't want to have a lot of people, so they're just gonna have a tasting with just the ladies. So we're at the restaurant and they're just setting things up. Todd tries to light one of the fire pits. He says he almost burnt his knuckle off because we did get a big old flame. And Drew and that husband of hers, they come first. They're so used to the shield thing that he tries to take a drink and hits the glass on the shield. See, this is why you need a mask, because if you have a mask, you know to take it off. But everyone starts to come in. They're sitting outside with the fire pit, and everybody's saying hi. Then Kenya comes and Marla comes. If I was Candy, I'd be like, no drama at my opening at my restaurant named after my beautiful chocolate baby. No drama tonight. So Marlo says hi to everyone, including Portia. Portia's like, So that's where we end this episode. I'm kind of sad that we didn't get to see Blaze. Especially this restaurant is named after her. We didn't get to see Baby Blaze this whole episode. I'm a little annoyed by that. But that's the end of this episode. Let me know what you thought of this episode in the comments below. Hit the like button and the notification bell to make sure you are notified when I release a new video, and subscribe. I would love to have you a part of Steph and Key TV. Stay safe, everyone. Bye.